Whose kid is this? Daycare is down the street. Sweetheart. The bank manager didn't even bother to lower his voice. People in the line turned, heads tilted, eyebrows raised. Phones came out, as if someone yelled, "Showtime." The 14-year-old black girl in the oversized gray hoodie tightened her grip on the small blue card in her hand. Her sneakers were scuffed, 2 sizes too big. Her braids were tied back with a rubber band that used to be red and was now tired brown. "Sir, I just need to check my balance," she said. Her voice tried to be brave and landed somewhere between a whisper and a squeak. The manager laughed. Not a secret laugh. A performance. "Oh, this is adorable," he announced. "She's playing pretend." He snatched the card out of her hand with 2 fingers like it was sticky. He held it up so the people in line could see. Prepaid card. Cheap plastic. A cartoon star in the corner. Something a parent might load with $20 so their kid could buy snacks. "This," he said, shaking it once, "is not a real account. This is what your mommy puts your lunch money on so you stop begging for McDonald's." A couple people chuckled. Someone behind her whispered, "Poor thing." Someone else muttered, "Scam. Watch. She's about to cry." The girl swallowed hard. "My name is Amira Cole," she said, louder this time. "And that's my card. The email said the funds were released this morning." The manager rolled his eyes so hard you could almost hear it. "Email? From who? Santa Claus?" he said. "The Tooth Fairy? A Nigerian prince." He dropped the card onto the counter with a little snap like it offended him. "Listen, sweetheart. This is a serious bank. We don't have time for TikTok pranks. Go home before I call security." Amira's hands shook. She reached for the card. "Please," she said. I think it's important. It's for my mom. We have to." The manager slammed his palm on the counter so hard the pens in their holders rattled. "Enough." His gold watch flashed under the fluorescent lights. Custom cufflinks. Perfect tie. Perfect hair. "You people and your stories," he went on. "My account got hacked. My millions are missing. My uncle is a prince." He leaned closer, lowered his voice just enough to sound venomous but not enough that the line couldn't hear. "Let me save you some time, okay? You don't have millions. You don't even have hundreds. You have whatever you picked up working some cheap job or from your little allowance. This," he poked the card with one manicured finger, "is a toy. Like those plastic kitchens they give kids so they can pretend to cook real food." The chuckles turned meaner. A guy in a navy suit lifted his phone higher. He was definitely recording now. Amira blinked fast. Her eyes burned. "I don't have a job," she whispered. "I'm in school." "Oh, even better," he said. "So you're broke and uneducated." A woman in a tight dress near the front shook her head. "Why do they even let these kids in here?" she muttered to her friend. "There should be an age limit." Amira heard that. Of course she heard that. Have you ever watched someone get humiliated in public and told yourself, "It's not my business," while your stomach twisted anyway? Have you ever seen a line between right and wrong drawn in front of you and stepped back instead of stepping over it? Because that's exactly what was happening at 9:17 a.m. on a Wednesday inside the Midtown branch of First Capital Bank. The man in the tailored suit with the shiny desk nameplate that read, Brian W. Carter, branch manager, was seconds away from destroying his own career. And the girl in the thrift store hoodie, clutching a toy card, she was about to become the most powerful customer that bank had ever seen. She just didn't know it yet. 6 hours earlier, at 3:11 a.m., Amira Cole was still awake. Her bedroom was the size of most people's walk-in closets. 2 steps from bed to door. 1 narrow window facing a brick wall. The paint peeled near the ceiling. The radiator hissed like it was annoyed at having to exist. The glow of an old laptop lit her face. Lines of code reflected in her tired eyes. The rest of the apartment was quiet. The TV in the living room was off. The streetlights outside painted a sickly yellow rectangle on the opposite wall. On the couch, 3 meters away through a cracked door, her mother finally slept. Still in her diner uniform, Nama tag crooked. Shoes kicked off, one on its side, the other half under the coffee table. Her hand still clutched the TV remote like she tried to stay awake and lost that battle hours ago. A half-wrinkled eviction notice lay on the table. Final warning, screaming in red at the top. Amira scrolled to the top of the email on her laptop screen for what felt like the 1,000th time. Subject line, "Congratulations, Amira, grant approved." She read the first paragraph again, slowly, in case the words decided to rearrange themselves. "Dear Amira, we're pleased to inform you that your project, Code for Quiet Kids, has been awarded full funding through the Westbridge Youth Innovation Grant." She skipped to the part her brain refused to fully accept. Total amount, $2 million. Funds will be disbursed to the prepaid account you provided within 6 to 8 hours. $2 million. Amira leaned back in her chair. The cheap metal legs squeaked. "This can't be real," she whispered to the empty room. But the email address was real. She'd Googled it. The logo at the bottom was real. She'd seen those glossy brochures in the guidance counselor's office. She'd spent 3 months applying. Nights of fixing bugs and watching tutorials. Mornings of shoving herself through school half awake. She'd built an app for kids like her. Quiet kids, anxious kids. Kids who hated raising their hand but had a galaxy of ideas in their heads. Anonymiser chat. Mood tracking. Homework help. Emergency talk to someone button that connected to real counselors volunteering in their spare time. She recorded her pitch video in the school bathroom because it had the best lighting. Balanced her phone on a stack of toilet paper. Deleted the first 7 takes because her voice shook too much. She never told her mom she applied. Because what if it didn't work? What if it was dumb? What if she failed? What if nothing ever worked? Amira glanced at the doorway. She could see just enough of the living room to make out her mom's shape under a thin blanket. Her mother's arm dangled off the couch. There was a tear in the shoulder of her uniform, a bruise on her wrist from the time a tray slipped and a stack of plates shattered. She'd laughed it off. Just a little souvenir from the 5 o'clock breakfast rush, baby. Just one more shift, baby. Her mom always said, "One more double and we'll catch up." They never caught up. Rent went up. Tips went down. The grocery bags got lighter. The circles under her mom's eyes got darker. $2 million wouldn't just fix things. It would flip their whole lives. If it was real. Amira checked the email again. Maybe this time it would say, "Just kidding." There it was again. Funds will be loaded onto your existing prepaid account ending in 7421. She reached over and picked up the little blue card from her desk. Her kid card, her mom called it. The only thing the bank would give a 14-year-old. They used it for groceries sometimes, bus tickets, cheap shoes. When the balance hit zero, it hit zero, and that was that. In the morning, Amira whispered, "I'll go to the bank and check. If it's a scam, if it's nothing, no one has to know. If it was real, her mom would never have to pull another double shift, never have to pick glass out of her hands in the staff bathroom, never have to smile through customers snapping their fingers at her." Amira closed the laptop. Her eyes burned, not sure if it was from blue light or hope. She crawled into bed and pulled the thin blanket up to her chin. The ceiling stared back at her. A crack ran from the light fixture to the window like the building had tried to break and failed halfway. She stared at that crack for a long time. Outside, a car alarm went off. Someone screamed. A siren wailed. Inside, Amira listened to her mother snore softly from the other room. She had no idea that in a few hours, a man with a gold watch and a fragile ego was going to plant himself like a gate between her and that email. She had no idea he would try to grind her down, right there in front of an entire bank lobby. He thought she was powerless. He thought she was alone. He thought nobody would ever really see what he was about to do. He was wrong on all three. 8 hours later, the bank was already buzzing. First Capital Bank, Midtown Branch, 8:55 a.m. Glass doors, marble floor, digital screens reminding everyone how inclusive and innovative the bank was. In soft pastels and smiling stock photo faces. The line snaked almost to the door. People in business suits glanced at their watches every 30 seconds. An older woman clutched her purse like someone might rip it away any second. A delivery guy in a reflective vest bounced on his heels, holding a bag that read "Rush Order." The air smelled like perfume, coffee, and printer ink. Brian Carter stood behind the counter, scanning the lobby with the bored eye of someone who thought he deserved a corner office and got a nameplate instead. His suit was custom-tailored. His hair, the kind of shine that meant he owned more hair products than most people owned pens. The gold watch on his wrist cost more than most people's cars. He liked that watch. He liked the weight of it. It reminded him who he thought he was. His morning had started out the usual way. He'd yelled at a teller for being 1 minute late. He'd rolled his eyes at an elderly man who didn't understand online transfers. He'd bragged to his assistant about the idiot he'd turned down for a business loan last week. People think just because they have a half-baked idea and a sob story, they're entitled to money, he said, sipping his $7 coffee. Not my fault they were born on the wrong side of the city. So when the door opened at 9:10 a.m. and a skinny black girl in an oversized hoodie walked in alone, Brian Carter didn't see a customer. He saw a target. Amira paused just inside the doorway. The bank mall-style AC hit her full in the face. Her hands were already sweating around the blue card. She wiped her palm on her jeans and joined the line, heart pounding in her ears. She could have used the ATM. She could have checked the balance online. But the email said sometimes large loads got flagged for review and required in-person verification. She pictured the bank's website freezing, error messages popping up. She pictured her mom trying to use the card and getting declined again and again. Better to go in person. Better to know. She moved forward step by step, watching the digital now serving numbers change. There were 3 tellers, all busy. Only one manager on duty, Manager Brian Carter. He spotted her when she was about 3 people from the front. He watched her card as she fidgeted with it. He made a face. "Next," he called, beckoning the woman in front of Amira. By the time he finished opening a new account for the woman, Amira was first in line. Her legs felt like they were made of noodles. She stepped up to the counter. Her voice barely worked. Good morning." Brian let his gaze travel from her braids down to her sneakers and back up. He didn't say good morning back. "Account number?" he said. She offered the card. "I just need to check if the funds." He snatched the card, squinted at it as if it might bite him. A slow smile spread across his face. Not a nice one. He turned his head. "Whose kid is this? Daycare is down the street. Sweetheart." The words hit Amira like a slap. The people in line heard it. Some laughed. A guy in a blazer pulled out his phone, thumb already hovering over the record button. Amira swallowed. Her cheeks burned. "I'm not a kid," she said quietly. "I mean, I am a kid, but I'm a customer too." "Sure you are," he said. "And I'm Beyonce." He held the card up between 2 fingers. "You show up in here with a prepaid card and think you're going to, what? Withdraw your millions in cash. Buy a yacht." "No," Amira said. The answer is no," he cut in. "Now move. People have real business." Someone in the back of the line muttered, "Yeah, hurry up." Amira blinked. I think there might be an error." "They said." He sighed dramatically, like she was bleeding minutes off his life. "Who said?" he demanded. "Your friend in an Instagram DM? Some guy promising to flip your money." Amira took a breath. "A grant," she said. "From Westbridge." Brian snorted. "That's cute. The Westbridge Youth Innovation Grant? My cousin applied for that. You know how many applicants they had? You think they picked you? With your little hoodie and your toy card." He chuckled, scanning the line to make sure the audience appreciated his joke. Amira's throat tightened. They sent an email." "Oh, an email," he mocked. "Well, if it's an email, it must be real. Here's some adult advice, sweetheart. If someone tells you they put $2 million on your kiddie card, they're lying. And if you walk into a bank saying that out loud, you sound like a..." He stopped just short of the word, but everyone knew what he meant. "I just want to check," Amira whispered. He leaned closer. "You know what I want to check?" he said. "Whether this card was stolen. Because this," he waved it, "doesn't belong to someone like you." The words hit harder than shouting. Someone in the line hissed under their breath. Someone else shifted like they wanted to say something, and didn't. Brian slapped the card down on the counter and pushed it back towards her. "Go home. Ask your mom for real money. Stop wasting my time." Amira stared at the card. Her vision blurred. Her hand moved on its own, picking it up. In that moment, she could have turned around and left. She could have walked out, swallowed it, told herself, "It's okay, you tried," and gone back to her tiny room and pretended the email never arrived. But then she saw in her mind her mother's sleeping face, the eviction notice, the bruise on her wrist. Something in Amira clicked. "I'm not leaving," she said. Brian's eyebrows shot up. "What was that?" I'm not leaving, she repeated louder. Her voice trembled, but it didn't break. Not until you check my account. Please. A soft ooh rippled through the line. Brian laughed once, sharp. You must really want security involved, he said. Fine. You want me to prove you have exactly $3.14 on this card so badly? Let's have a look. He turned his monitor a little away from the public, slid the card into the reader, and started typing. His long fingers flew across the keyboard. Amira held her breath. The guy with the phone zoomed in, capturing every second. Across the lobby, an older black lady in a floral dress, Ms. Williams, clutched her deposit slip tighter. Her lips pressed into a thin line. She knew that tone. She knew that laugh. She'd heard it in banks, stores, offices her whole life. Her instinct screamed, "Say something." Her fear whispered, "Not your business." Brian hit enter, ready to smirk, ready to turn the screen and show everyone the big fat zero. The system blinked. The loading icon spun. He waited, impatient. "See?" he said. "Nothing. Even the bank doesn't take this card, Sari." The numbers loaded. Brian's mouth kept moving, but no sound came out. The color drained from his face. On his screen, in green letters, the balance stood proud and impossible. $2,487.32. For a second, he thought it had glitched. Then he saw the transaction below it. Westbridge Youth Innovation Grant Disbursement, $2 million. His eyes flicked to the sender account. Legitimate, corporate, verified. His heart skipped. No, 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 no. This had to be a mistake. There was no way. He clicked in deeper. The account details popped up. Name on the prepaid account, Amira Cole. Date of birth, address, photo ID on file. Same girl, same hoodie, same eyes. Brian's stomach twisted. He glanced up. Amira watched his face, not the screen. She couldn't see the numbers, but she saw the fear creep in where the arrogance had been. "What?" she whispered. "Is something wrong?" He cleared his throat. He could have owned it right there. He could have said, "I'm sorry. I was wrong. You do have funds." He could have apologized right there in front of everyone. Instead, he did what a lot of people do when they realize they're wrong in public. He doubled down. He snatched the card out of the reader and slid it back toward her with a forced smile. "System error," he said. "Come back another time." "Next." Amira's heart dropped. "System error?" she repeated. "But..." He leaned closer and hissed, just for her this time. "You better pray it's an error," he said. "Because if you're mixed up in some kind of fraud, little girl, that's jail time. Even for minors." Her hands went cold. It's not fraud," she stammered. They sent me an email. I entered my card, He cut her off again, louder now. "We're done here." "Security." A uniformed guard near the entrance took a step closer, hesitant. The people in line shifted, eager for a show. Have you ever watched someone in power realize they're wrong and then choose to stick the knife in deeper rather than pull it out? Brian Carter was not afraid of being wrong. He was afraid of looking wrong, especially in front of these people, in front of his regulars, in front of his reflection in the bank's polished glass. "Sir," Amira tried one last time. "Please, my mom." Your mom, he snapped. Should have taught you not to lie. Now get out of my branch before I have you removed. He reached for the phone. Before he could dial, another phone started ringing. Not a cell phone, the landline on the counter beside him. He frowned and snatched it up. First Capital Midtown, this is Brian, he said, syrupy sweet. How can I? His face changed as he listened. Yes, sir, he said. She's here. Yes, sir. Right now. No, I didn't. I was about to. His eyes flicked to Amira, suddenly cautious. Yes, sir. I'll transfer. He fumbled with the buttons, his hands suddenly clumsy. Ms. Daniels, he said when another voice came on. Yes, ma'am. She's right in front of me. No, I hadn't had a chance to verify yet. I was just, of course. Yes. Right away. He hung up. His fingers trembled. For the first time that morning, he wasn't performing. He was sweating. Amira stared. What was that? She asked. Brian forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Just internal business, he said. Nothing you need to worry about. Before he could say more, the glass doors swung open. A woman in a navy pantsuit and sensible heels walked in, moving fast. She carried a leather folder and the kind of air that made people step out of her way without knowing why. Her ID badge rested against her blazer. Regional Director J. Daniels. Where is she? The woman asked. Brian straightened. Ms. Daniels, he said, voice suddenly soft, almost fawning. Good morning. I didn't know you were coming by. If I'd been informed. Where is she? Ms. Daniels repeated, eyes sweeping the lobby. Brian hesitated, then reluctantly pointed at Amira. Ms. Daniels took Amira in with one quick, sharp look. Messy braids, cheap hoodie, blue card in nervous fingers, wide scared eyes. Then she smiled. Not the fake customer service smile, a real one. Amira? She asked. Amira nodded, unsure. Yes, ma'am. Hi, I'm Julia Daniels, she said, Regional Director for this bank. And I've been expecting you. The line went quiet. Brian's jaw dropped. You have, Amira said. Yes, Ms. Daniels said. Westbridge called me personally this morning. They wanted to make sure everything went smoothly with your grant disbursement. She looked at Brian. Did everything go smoothly, Mr. Carter? Silence. Brian swallowed. We were just in the process of verifying her account, he said. I was about to. Ms. Daniels held out her hand. Let me see the screen, she said. Brian froze. Ma'am, I don't think. Now, Brian, she said. No sweetness this time. He turned the monitor, hands reluctantly sliding it toward her. Her eyes scanned the numbers. Took her 3 seconds to see what was going on. She saw the balance. She saw the disbursement. She saw the name. And then she saw the log. A note he'd just started typing before the call came in. Possible fraud. Minor claims large balance. Advise investigation / card freeze. Her lips pressed into a thin line. Interesting, she said. Ma'am, I was just trying to protect the bank, she finished. By ignoring a verified multi-million-dollar deposit from one of our most prestigious partners and threatening a 14-year-old grant recipient with jail, the people in line were no longer pretending not to listen. The guy in the blazer was still recording, But now his phone was low, discreet, camera barely visible. Ms. Daniels stepped away from the monitor and came around the counter to stand next to Amira. Up close, Amira could smell her perfume, clean, not overpowering. Lavender and something sharp. "Amira," she said gently, "I'm so sorry for how you've been treated this morning." She glanced back at Brian. "That is not how our bank does business, or how it claims to." Brian opened his mouth. "Ma'am, with all due respect, she came in here claiming she had millions on a prepaid card. It sounded like a scam. And did you check before you humiliated her?" Ms. Daniels asked. Did you verify anything before you raised your voice?" she pressed. "Or did you decide based on her hoodie, her skin color, and the fact that she walked in here alone that she must be lying?" Brian's face went red. "That's not fair," he said. "You know our policy. We have to be extra cautious with you people," Ms. Daniels said quietly. The words hit harder because she was black too. A murmur went through the crowd. Brian's mouth opened, then closed. "I didn't say. You didn't have to," she said. "We've all heard that tone before." She turned back to Amira. "Can I see your card?" she asked. Hands shaking, Amira handed it over. Ms. Daniels walked back behind the counter, slid it into the reader with careful fingers, and typed in her own credentials. The screen lit up again. Same balance, same green numbers. She smiled. "There it is," she said, loud enough for the lobby to hear. $2 million, right where Westbridge said it would be. Amira's knees almost gave out. "It's real," she whispered. "It's very real," Ms. Daniels said. "And so are you." She printed something, signed it, and came back around the counter. She handed Amira a sheet of paper. "Here's a hard copy of your balance and the transaction with my signature," she said, "in case anyone ever questions you again." Amira looked at the paper like it might vanish. The guard near the door shifted, looking suddenly ashamed of how quickly he'd started walking toward her earlier. Ms. Williams, the older woman in the floral dress, exhaled softly, like she'd been holding her breath the whole time. Brian tried one last time. "Ms. Daniels, you have to admit it's unusual," he said. "A kid from—" he glanced at Amira, hesitated. "From this neighborhood walking in with millions? I was just trying to use common sense." Ms. Daniels turned slowly. "Common sense," she repeated. "So common sense is that certain kids can't receive grants? That certain kids can't be innovators? That's not what I—" "How long have you been manager here, Brian?" she asked. 11 years, he said. "How many times have you personally gone out of your way to help someone who didn't look rich?" she asked. "How many students? How many single moms? How many elders who didn't understand your efficient systems?" He didn't answer. "Let me make something very clear," she said.
Westbridge chose Amira.
They looked at hundreds of applications, algorithms, pitches, prototypes. They decided she was worth investing in. They trusted this bank to hold and protect that investment. She stepped closer. Her voice stayed calm. That made it scarier. "And the first face she met was yours." Brian swallowed. Amira looked from one adult to the other, unsure what to do with her hands. The paper crinkled in her grip. Ms. Daniels took a breath. "Brian Carter," she said. "Effective immediately. You were suspended pending an internal investigation into discriminatory conduct and mishandling of priority accounts. The lobby sucked in a breath all at once. Brian's jaw dropped. You can't," he sputtered. "You can't suspend me in front of customers. This is a misunderstanding. She's just a kid." Ms. Daniels' eyes didn't waver. "She's not just anything," she said. "She's a client. And right now, she's the only reason this branch isn't on Westbridge's blacklist." Brian looked around like someone might step in and save him. No one did. The guy in the blazer lowered his phone, but it was too late. He'd captured everything. Ms. Daniels nodded to the security guard. "Please escort Mr. Carter to his office to collect his personal belongings," she said. "His access will be disabled in 10 minutes. Brian backed up. "This is insane," he said. "You're going to ruin my reputation over one little brat with a lucky email?" There it was. No filter. Raw. Silence fell so heavy you could almost hear it land. The security guard stepped forward, gentle but firm. "Sir," he said, "let's go." Brian jerked his arm away. "This is my branch," he snapped. "I built this place. I hit all the numbers, brought in VIP clients, babysat these tellers. I did your work for you, Julia." Ms. Daniels' gaze was ice now. "No," she said quietly. "You built a little kingdom where you felt big by making others feel small. You forgot who this bank is for." He glared at Amira. "This is your fault," he hissed. "You have no idea what you've done." Amira's voice was barely audible. I just asked you to check my balance," she said. The guy in the blazer finally lifted his phone again. That line? That was going in the thumbnails. The guard took Brian by the elbow. This time, Brian didn't pull away. He looked at the line one last time, at the tellers, at the glass doors. Then he was gone. The doors closed behind him with a soft whoosh. The lobby stayed silent for 3 whole heartbeats. Then Ms. Williams stepped forward. "Baby," she said to Amira, voice warm. "You okay?" Amira blinked, as if remembering how to be in her body. I think so," she said. Ms. Daniels turned to her. "I'm going to ask you something, Amira," she said, "and you can say no. You've already been through a lot this morning." Amira nodded slowly. "Okay. Westbridge and our corporate office want to celebrate your grant," Ms. Daniels said. "They were planning a press release, interviews, the whole thing. Would you be comfortable talking to a reporter about what happened here today?" Amira flinched. The idea of cameras, questions, strangers picking apart her words. "I don't," she started. "You don't have to decide right now," Ms. Daniels said, backing off. "We can talk later. For today, all I want is for you to feel safe and respected. We'll set up a meeting with our financial advisor. We'll talk about splitting your money between savings, investments, a checking account with proper protections. No one is freezing anything without your consent." Amira's shoulders dropped in relief she didn't know she was holding. "Thank you," she murmured. Ms. Daniels smiled. "And one more thing," she said. "Do you have anyone helping you manage this grant? A lawyer? A mentor from Westbridge?" Amira shook her head. "It was just me," she said. "My guidance counselor said I should apply, but he doesn't know I won." "Well, that changes today," Ms. Daniels said. "I know someone. a pro bono financial attorney who specializes in protecting young winners from being taken advantage of. I'll give you her number. Amira nodded, almost dizzy. All this from one email, one card, one humiliating morning. Ms. Williams stepped closer again. "Can I say something?" she asked. Ms. Daniels nodded. "Of course." Ms. Williams looked at Amira, then at the line, the recording phones, the averted eyes. "You hear how quiet it is now?" she said. "Too quiet. Should have been this quiet when he started talking to her that way." Someone shifted, ashamed. "That man has been here for years," Ms. Williams went on. "I've watched him talk to people like they were dirt. As soon as he saw they didn't have the right clothes, the right accent, the right color, he'd turn on that voice. I've been on the receiving end of it more times than I can count." She shook her head. "I'm happy he finally got caught," she said. "But I'm mad it took a child with $2 million to make everybody listen. That hit harder than anything else." Ms. Daniels didn't argue. She didn't defend. "You're right," she said simply. "And that's going in my report." She looked at the line. "If you ever experience or witness behavior like that in any of our branches," she said, "I want you to file a complaint. With names, times, details. We can't fix what we pretend not to see." Her eyes swept the faces. "Recording is good," she added. "Speaking up is better." The guy in the blazer felt his cheeks burn. He hadn't said a word, just held his phone and watched. Amira held her balance paper like a fragile shield. "Can I go home now?" she asked. "Yes," Ms. Daniels said softly. "And I'm going to walk you out." The city sounded different when you walked out of a bank with proof that your whole life had just changed. The traffic was the same. Honking, shouting, sirens in the distance. But the air felt lighter somehow. Or maybe that was just Amira's chest. Ms. Daniels stood with her on the sidewalk. "Do you have cab money?" she asked. "I can take the bus," Amira said. "It's okay." Ms. Daniels reached into her bag, pulled out a transit card. "Use this," she said, "and call this number when you get home." She scribbled a phone number on the back of a business card. "It's the attorney I mentioned. You tell her Julia sent you. She'll explain trusts, protections, all of that. You don't have to know everything today." Amira nodded. "Thank you," she said again. The two words felt too small. Ms. Daniels smiled. "Get some rest," she said, "and maybe tell your mom the good news somewhere she can sit down." Amira laughed once, shaky. "I will." She turned and started walking, clutching the paper and the card like her life. Behind her, the glass doors of the bank reflected her small figure, the reflection of a girl who looked like nobody important. Someone would screenshot that later, put it in a video, caption it. Before they knew, the guy in the blazer had a name. Marcus Lee, 26, social media manager for a news startup that specialized in everyday justice stories. He sat in his car on his lunch break, phone in his hand, the footage replaying over and over. Brian Carter's voice. Amira's shaking. "I just asked you to check my balance." Ms. Williams. "I'm mad it took a child with money to make y'all listen. He could have deleted it. He could have shaken his head, thought, that was wild, and gone back to work. Instead, he opened his editing app. He cut the fluff, zoomed in on faces, added subtitles so nobody could pretend they misheard. He put the balance screen in the thumbnail, blurred the numbers just enough that people would click to see. He paused before posting. "Is this safe?" he muttered. "For the girl." He decided to blur her last name in the captions. Left just Amira. He changed the title 3 times before settling on "Bank manager laughs at black teen's toy card, then sees her real balance." He hesitated again. Then he hit post. Within an hour, it had 10,000 views. By evening, it had 3 million. At 3:46 p.m., Amira sat on the sagging couch next to her mom, still in her diner uniform. The eviction notice was on the table between them. Next to it, the balance paper spread out like a shield. Her mom had not fainted, but she'd come close. "Read it again," she said. Amira did. 2 million, her mom whispered. "Baby, are you sure?" "It's real," Amira said. "They checked. The lady from the bank, the big boss." She printed it and signed it. The email, the grant, all of it. "It's real." Her mom stared at the paper, then at her daughter. "You did this," she said. "You wrote all this code, got this grant by yourself." "You told me to use my brain," Amira said, voice small. "So I did." Her mom covered her mouth with her hand. Tears slipped out anyway. I thought I was failing you," she said. "I thought all I was teaching you was how to survive, how to stretch noodles and say yes, sir, to people who don't deserve it." She shook her head, laughing and crying at the same time. "And here you go, teaching me how to win." Amira's eyes burned. "Mom!" Her mom pulled her into a hug that squeezed air out of her lungs. For a minute, there was nothing but heartbeat and fabric and the familiar smell of diner coffee and cheap lotion. The TV in the corner was on, volume low. A news anchor's voice mumbled about something. They almost missed it. Viral video from a New York bank has people talking about race, class, and what happens when we assume who belongs where, the anchor said. Amira's mom frowned, reaching for the remote. "What's this?" she said, turning up the volume. On the screen, a paused frame. Brian Carter leaning over the counter, Amira's shoulders hunched. The title bar at the bottom read, "Bank manager suspended after humiliating teen grant winner." Amira's stomach dropped. "Oh no," she whispered. Her mom hit play. The video played with subtitles. Every word, every laugh, every threat. Her mom's grip tightened on the remote. By the time Ms. Daniels said, "You're suspended," her mom was shaking. "That man talked to you like that," she said slowly. "And nobody said anything?" Amira swallowed. "One lady did," she said. After, her mom stared at the screen, at her daughter's small figure, at her own absence in that moment. "I should have been there," she said. "I should have." "You were working," Amira said quickly. "And Ms. Daniels," she helped. "And Ms. Williams." "It's okay." Her mom stood up suddenly. "It's not okay," she snapped. "It's not okay that it took you being a millionaire for them to treat you like a human being. It's not okay that he looked at you and saw fraud instead of customer. It's not okay that. Her voice broke. Amira stood too. "Mom!" Her mom wiped her face, took a breath. "Okay," she said. "Fine. We're not going to let this break us. We're going to use it. You hear me?" Amira nodded. The phone buzzed on the coffee table. Unknown number. She glanced at her mom. Her mom nodded. Answer, she said. Hello, Amira said. Amira? A woman's voice responded. This is Carmen Lopez. I'm a financial attorney. Julia Daniels asked me to give you a call. And well, so did about 15 news outlets. News outlets, Amira repeated. Yes, Carmen said. Your story is everywhere right now. I'd like to talk to you and your mom about what you want to do next. On your terms. 2 days later, the Midtown branch of First Capital Bank didn't look like itself. Camera trucks lined the street. Reporters in perfect hair stood under tiny umbrellas, talking into microphones. Inside, the usually bored security guard looked like he hadn't slept. People weren't just coming to deposit checks. They were coming to take pictures with the counter where it happened. The bank had issued a statement. We do not tolerate discrimination of any kind. It was the kind of statement companies print 1,000 times a year. But this time, people had the receipts. At 10 a.m., a small press conference began in the lobby. Westbridge representatives, Ms. Daniels, a stiff man from corporate in a tie too tight, Ms. Williams in the back, arms crossed, and Amira in a navy cardigan that still had the hanger crease. Carmen, the attorney, stood slightly to the side, eyes always moving. Thank you for coming, the corporate guy said into the mic. We are here to celebrate Amira Cole, the youngest recipient of the Westbridge Youth Innovation Grant this year, and to acknowledge that her experience in our branch did not live up to our values. He said our values like he wanted to choke on them. He went on about investigations, trainings, policy changes. People listened barely. They were waiting for the girl. When they finally passed the mic to Amira, it felt heavier than any card she'd ever held. She looked out at the cameras, at the phones, at the curious faces, at Ms. Williams, whose eyes said, "Doesn't matter what they call you as long as you remember who you are." Amira cleared her throat. "My name is Amira," she said. Her voice trembled. She didn't pretend it didn't. "I'm 14. I like coding and anime and hot fries." A few people laughed, the tension cracking. 2 days ago, she continued, I came to this bank to see if an email was real. I didn't come here to get famous. I didn't come to ruin anybody's job. I just wanted to know if my life had changed or if it was a scam. She glanced down at her hands. When the manager saw me, he didn't see a customer, she said. He saw a problem. He saw a joke. He decided I couldn't possibly be telling the truth before he even checked his computer. She looked up again, meeting the camera. I'm lucky, she said. I had Westbridge behind me. I had Ms. Daniels. I have a lawyer. I have a balance sheet that made people pay attention. Her voice hardened, just a little. But I keep thinking about something, she went on. If there had been $0 on my card, would anyone have cared how he talked to me? Would he still be manager today? Would you be here, listening to me, if I was just a broke black girl in a hoodie? Silence. Ms. Williams nodded slowly, eyes shining. I didn't go viral because I was disrespected, Amira said. Lots of people are disrespected every day. I went viral because I had money. That's not justice. That's luck. She glanced at Ms. Daniels, then back at the crowd. I'm grateful for this grant, she said. It's going to help me build something that helps kids who feel like they don't have a voice. But I don't want the only kids who get an apology to be the ones with millions behind their name." She swallowed. "I hope this bank really does change," she said. "I hope other banks change. Stores, schools, everybody. Not because they're afraid of being on video, but because they're tired of being wrong." She tightened her grip on the microphone. "And if you're watching this," she said, looking straight into the lens, "and you work somewhere with power, I hope you remember this feeling. The feeling of watching someone like him get exposed. I hope the next time you want to roll your eyes at a customer, or grab a card like it's dirty, or call security because someone looks suspicious, you remember me." She paused. "Because I promise you," she added softly. "There's another phone recording." Cameras clicked. Someone whispered, "She's 14. She handed the mic back, heart pounding, and stepped away. Ms. Williams caught her as she passed, squeezing her hand. "You did good, baby," she whispered. "You did real good." 3 weeks later, Brian Carter stood in front of a different kind of counter. Employment office, plastic chairs, fluorescent lights that made everything look a little bit worse. He filled out yet another form. "Reason for leaving previous job?" the clerk asked without looking up. He swallowed. "Restructuring," he said. The clerk didn't blink. "You're Brian Carter from the video, right?" she asked. He flinched. They took it out of context," he said quickly. "That girl. Kid walked in with $2 million on her card and you tried to throw her out," the clerk said flatly. "What context am I missing?" He had no good answer. Brian Carter learned something too late. When you build your whole sense of worth on being above someone, the day you're the one on the floor, nobody's in a hurry to help you up. 6 months later, the Code for Quiet Kids app hit 1 million downloads. 1 million kids who didn't raise their hands in class, who ate lunch in the library, who flinched when teachers said, "Group work." They logged in and found somebody who understood. Not just Amira, hundreds of volunteer mentors, teen moderators, therapists who donated an hour here, half an hour there. The grant money didn't just sit in an account. It hired coders, paid for servers, funded scholarships. Amira didn't do it alone. She hired a team. Some of them were the same kids bank managers would have laughed at. It was funny in a cosmic way. The same world that said, "You don't belong here," now needed a password to access her. A year later, Amira walked past the Midtown branch of First Capital Bank on her way to a meeting. It had a new sign, fresh paint, new manager, same marble floor. Through the glass, she could see a teenage boy in a faded jacket at the counter. He held a folded paper and a card. His shoulders were tense. The teller, a young guy with nervous energy, said something. The boy shook his head slowly, explained again. The teller looked confused, then called someone over. The someone wasn't wearing a gold watch. She was wearing a simple blazer, natural curls, soft eyes that looked tired and kind. She listened, really listened. She checked the screen, checked again. Then she smiled and shook the kid's hand. Amira didn't go in. She just watched for a moment, then kept walking. Her phone buzzed. A DM from someone she didn't know. "Hey Amira, my name's Tasha.
I'm 15.
Saw your story last year. Today my teacher accused me of cheating because my test score was too high. I showed her your video. She backed off. Just wanted to say thanks. You helped me and you don't even know me. Amira smiled. She typed back, you helped yourself first. I was just the proof. Here's the part that haunts me. That Wednesday morning in the bank, there were at least 50 people in that lobby. 50 people who watched a grown man snatch a card from a child's hands, talk about you people like it was a diagnosis, threaten a 14-year-old with jail for daring to believe in herself. 50 people. Know how many actually stepped in? One, Ms. Williams, and then Ms. Daniels when she was called. 50 people with phones. 2 people with spines. Brian looked at Amira's hoodie and her skin and decided she was nothing. He didn't read her email, didn't check her card, didn't ask a single real question. He saw a toy card and forgot that behind every piece of plastic is a human being. Be honest. How many times have you watched someone get talked down to and stayed quiet? Not judging. We've all done it. We've all told ourselves, it's not my business. I don't want drama. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Somebody else will say something. We hold up our phones and think, this will be important someday, instead of holding up our voice and making it important now. Amira had $2 million behind her. She had an entire foundation's credibility. She had a regional director who cared. She had a lawyer. Most kids who get treated like that, they have none of that. They have a bus pass, a worn-out backpack, a mom who's too tired to come storm the counter. They just swallow it, and it becomes one more brick in the wall they have to climb over every day. The person you laugh at today because of their shoes, their accent, their card, their balance, might be the one who builds the app, writes the law, or runs the company that decides your fate tomorrow. Respect shouldn't depend on net worth. It should come standard. So if you take anything from Amira's story, let it be this. Next time you're Brian in that line, the one in power, the one behind the counter, the one with the system password, use it right. Next time you're Ms. Williams in that line, the one watching, heart pounding, knowing this isn't right, say something, even if your voice shakes, even if nobody claps, even if there's no camera rolling. And if you're Amira, if you're the quiet one with big ideas and a cheap card that nobody takes seriously, don't let someone like him define your value. You are not the numbers they expect to see on a screen. You are the code behind it. You are the story they will tell in hushed voices later when they say, I should have treated her better. Have you ever been underestimated? Have you ever underestimated someone else? What are you going to do about it? Like this if you believe dignity isn't optional. Comment below. Have you ever seen someone talked down to in public? Did you step in? Or do you wish you had? Share this story with somebody who needs the reminder that worth isn't worn on your wrist. And remember, the next time someone laughs at your toy card, your old shoes, your small voice, they might be standing in the lobby of a life you're about to own.